All right, welcome back, guys. So, today we're going to be learning about symbiotic relationships. Make sure you guys take your core notes. This should be a pretty quick lesson, just like always. Remember, symbiosis is any long term relationship between two different species in which at least one organism is going to benefit. The keys there is that it has to be something long term. Those species are interacting for a long period of time. And of course, at least one of those organisms has to benefit from the relationship, or otherwise, it's not going to be symbiotic. The first one we're going to talk about is called mutualism. Mutual, the term mutual, means that we both get something from it, like a tit for tat. In this case, it's a relationship in which both organisms within the relationship are getting some sort of benefit. Now, this is shown with a symbol that is a plus sign and a plus sign, which is to denote that both species are actually getting some sort of benefit from that relationship. An example of mutualism would be lichen and fungi. Lichen provide energy to the fungus, while the fungus gives the lichen a place to grow. So they're both getting some sort of benefit. The lichen giving energy, the fungus giving a home to the lichen. And you can see it in the image here. The lichen would be the kind of yellowish material. The fungus would be the mold that is growing on the tree. Another example would be tick birds and the rhinoceros. So, on a daily basis, the rhinos kind of just sit there and they attract a variety of bugs that try to drink their blood or attack them or just, sit on their back. And what the tick birds will do is they'll come over to the rhinos and they'll start eating those bugs, picking off all the ticks, which provides some benefit for both. The rhino gets all the ticks and insects off their back and off their body, and the birds obviously get a free meal. So it's a benefit for both species, and they cooperate in this manner. The rhinos don't try to knock the birds off, they don't care that they're there because they're getting a benefit from them. So this is a great example of mutualism, where the species understand that they are better off helping each other rather than trying to be apart. So, our summary: mutualism is one sort of form of symbiosis in which the two species are both benefiting. And then the symbol is plus plus, and then you can write one of the examples down as well. Next up, we have commensalism. Commensalism is where one species is going to have some sort of benefit and the other species is completely unaffected. So this symbol is going to be a plus sign for the species that benefits, and then either a zero or a O. And this is to represent that the other species just doesn't really care that the other species is there. So it doesn't get a benefit. It's not harmed and it's not benefited. It's just there. So an example of this would be barnacles that live on whales. So if you ever seen a picture of a whale, you notice those white things all over its body. Those are called barnacles, and they are small crustaceans, which are very closely related to crabs. Crabs are also crustaceans, or clams, or oysters. Those are all crustaceans. But what they do is they attach themselves to larger organisms so that they can be transported around and kind of filter the water to get food. This doesn't hurt the whale in any way. The whales don't even notice they're there. They're just kind of carrying them. And the barnacles obviously get the benefit because they get the food and the transportation. So this is a great example of commensalism. Another example would be the caribou and the Arctic fox. Caribous migrate in herds through the tundra, which is the Arctic grasslands, passing through and clearing snow from the ground as they travel and feeding off the lichen. The Arctic foxes follow the caribou through its journey in order to hunt small animals that have been exposed by the caribou. So basically, the caribou just go about their business walking through the grasslands and they clear the snow. And the much smaller Arctic fox will follow the path of the caribou so that they can actually get to the small animals underneath the snow. The caribou don't care that the Arctic foxes are there because they're too small, but the Arctic fox actually gets a benefit from the relationship because they are able to hunt better due to the snow being cleared away for them. So, this is a great example of commensalism. And finally, Our summary of this one would be that commensalism is the relationship between two species in which one is going to get a benefit and the other is unaffected. And again, the symbol would be plus and zero because one is benefiting and the other is not. And the third and final would be parasitism. Parasitism. This is where you have a symbiotic relationship in which one organism is going to benefit and the other organism is going to be harmed, but generally not killed. Just harm, not killed. Sometimes it could result in death over time. However, this is generally not going to be an immediate death or intentional. Most parasites do not want to kill the host because they want the relationship to continue. Another word for this would be a parasite host relationship. The symbol for this would be plus and minus because the other organism is always harmed, although not always killed. So the parasite would be the organism that's going to get the benefit, and then the organism that is harmed would be called the host. So that's why it's called a parasite host relationship as well. Some examples of this would be, say, for example, a puppy that has been infected with a roundworm, which is a kind of a parasite that goes inside the intestines. You may have heard this as tapeworm, as a very close relative of the roundworm. And they eat a portion of all of the nutrients that the puppy actually gets. So the puppy ends up getting weaker and slower and starving due to a lot of its nutrients going to the worm instead. So that's one example of parasitism. The parasite obviously is getting nutrients, so it's benefiting. The puppy is obviously being harmed because it's getting less nutrients and blood. And another example of this would be fungi that sit on trees. So the fungus gets nutrients by breaking down the tree's bark, which kind of kills the tree over time, starts to make the exterior of the tree decay. Um, and the reason why this is parasitism is because it is a long term relationship that this will last a long time. Obviously, the fungus is getting a benefit, and the tree is being harmed by the relationship. So, parasitism, relationship between two species in which one benefits and the other is harmed. And the symbol here, again, it would be a plus and a minus, also known as a parasite host relationship. And that'd be all. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, please remember to ask.